There is absolutely nothing wrong with being an introvert. And it's so annoying when people are like, oh, you're so quiet. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being an introvert. Because, I mean, the world is full of introverts and extroverts. And we tend to thrive best when we have alone time, where we are able to relax, unwind, we focus best, we recharge best, and just ultimately we thrive best when we are either alone or when we are around very few people. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with being an introvert. So those that be saying something about it, whatever, okay? However, you deserve to be a loud introvert. A loud introvert is a person that confidently speaks up, that doesn't let people's perception of you ever hold you back, and that forever freely and creatively and confidently expresses themselves. So, like, okay, all right, she's quiet or whatever, but she ain't afraid to speak up when she needs to. And, she know how to get up in here and say what she needs to say. That is the type of woman that you deserve to be. So, first and foremost, which is the first step of the introvert identifier, is think about what is it about being an introvert that you don't care for. So again, there's nothing wrong with being an introvert, but what is it about being an introvert that you don't like? Do you hate that you're too afraid to speak up, which results in people using you? Because I've done that, where I'm too afraid to speak up. So there's been 50 million times where I have let people use me, not only personally, but at work too. Is it that you hate that you're afraid to open up to people, to be at social events? First of all, think about what is it about being an introvert that you don't like, and then think about how it has negatively affected your life. Number two, you have to think about where it comes from. Where does it come from? Because like growing up, I would tell my mom all the time, I would cry to my mom. I'd be like, Mom, why don't I don't understand why I don't have friends, and I just don't get it. And it seems like people don't talk to me, and this and this and that, which it was all in my head. It was me self-sabotaging my own self, but I'm going to get to that. I never understood why. Like, why am I so fearful? Like, why am I so scary? Like, why? People scare me. I don't like being around new people, trying to create conversations, trying to carry on conversations, keep them going. It's all very scary. It's very intimidating. Why am I afraid to go out by myself? Why? So what I did was I reflected over my childhood, and I thought about my parents. So as a kid, my mom was very loving and sweet, but I never ever saw her be outspoken. And then my father, he was in the house, but he wasn't. Meaning he was physically there, but when he was there, at the time, he didn't really interact much with me. He just didn't. He was very closed off. It was almost like he was a stranger living in the house. I ended up, without realizing it, telling myself as a kid that no one cares about me. Like, no one cares about getting to know me, who I am, my thoughts, my experiences. People don't truly care about getting to know me. And when people ask me something about myself, I always felt that they were just doing it because that's what you're supposed to do, or they were doing it out of sympathy. So this is what you need to do. You have to deal with what it is that is keeping you the way that you are. You're not like that for no reason. You being afraid to speak up doesn't just come from thin air. It comes from somewhere. You being afraid to go to social events outside of work, that comes from somewhere. You being afraid to open up to people, even if it's something very simple, like at work, sharing with coworkers what you did over the weekend, you know, something simple. That comes from somewhere. That does not come from out of thin air. And until you deal with it, that will forever hold you back and forever bound you. I just feel like there is no magic pill for do this, okay? When you get out around people, do this, you do that. Here's step 1, and here's step 2, and here's step 3. I feel like all of that to me is crap. I feel like until you work on your inner self, you will forever be bound and held back in those areas. So what I want you to do right now is to dig deep and reflect over your childhood, people that you've been around and or currently are around, and your life experiences. If you've already done that, kudos to you, because facing the truth can be hard. So great job in taking that first step. Now what you're going to do is decide, how are you going to move forward? So if it's not that simple for you, depending on what you've been through or what you're currently going through, if you need to talk to someone that you trust, let it out, go to therapy, talk to your preacher, your counselor, whatever is going to help you. But once you identify where it comes from, I'm telling you, it sets you free, and once you deal with it and once you heal from it, you then can start that journey of finally breaking out of your shell. But until you do that, it's temporary. Okay, you might go out or whatever, but it's temporary. You tend not to keep it up. Or like what I've done is, when you go out, you don't open up to people. It feels good to be out, but you're just mainly the listener. You know, you're just listening to everybody else talk, and you're not sharing your opinion. You're not opening up. So you have to do that. And now, of course, the devil is busy. You got crazy people, you got backstabbers and gossipers and all that, but everyone is not like that. Everyone is not like that. So definitely make sure that you do this first exercise, the introvert identifier, because your perception of people will change and you'll realize, oh, it's not fully them. They don't like me. They. It's been me too. Without me even realizing it, it's been me too. So make sure that you do this first step.